This is Jonathan Agar, here for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Macklin here in Bournemouth ahead of Chris Billam-Smith's return this Saturday, the last show of the year. Matt, how are you finding Bournemouth?
Freezing. And it's funny because we were down here in July and obviously it was boiling hot. We were all out on the beach in our shorts and flip-flops, and now it's like, I don't know, it's -4, -5, it was freezing.
Yeah, slightly different conditions and setting, but still a very important fight for Chris Billam-Smith. He knows if he wins this, he looks like he'll get the world title shot. What do you know about his opponent? Probably not the opponent people really know about, but do you know anything about him?
Not a lot really, but he's here. He's got a decent ranking. Seen a few clips of him. He fights in bursts. Look, I think Billam-Smith should win comfortably. I think he'll stop him in the mid rounds. Could be, early doors. He might come and have a go and throw his eggs in one basket, and he could be dangerous a little bit then early doors. But I don't see him. I don't think he carries enough power to spring a shocking upset, and I don't see him outworking or outpointing Billam-Smith. So I think Billam-Smith wins it, but I think from his own point of view, with the world title looking like it could be next, assuming he comes through this, he'll want to perform well. He'll want to, get the job done in style.
On the undercard, Dan Aziz defends British title against Rocky Fielding, who missed weight by a pound. We expect him, I guess, to re-weigh in and get that. So what do you think of that fight?
Good fight, crossroads fight. Obviously Rocky's sort of been there before at this level and beyond it, so he's coming back down. He hasn't really been active. He's at a stage in his life. What's left? How are the reflexes? We don't know, but we do know he can punch. I think everything else favours Dan Aziz in terms of where they're at in their careers. It's a crossroads fight, isn't it? And he's the guy on the up, and Rocky's the guy who's, if he loses, will probably retire. The fact he didn't try and get a pound off, he's not bothered about winning the British title. He's already been there at the level, like you say. So I think I think you got to favour Dan Aziz, but he can't afford any slip-ups because Rocky can punch.
Looking towards the new year, you guys kick off with Liam Smith against Chris Eubank Jr. I think that's not going to be anything short of a war in that fight. What do you think the difference is going to be on the night between those two?
I don't know who's fresher, who wants it more. I think it's gonna. Who wants it more? Who's that bit fresher? They're going to be important factors. I think they both want it. I think there'll be no quarter. No quarter given, no inch given, none taken. I think they're both going to. They're both going to give it everything. They'll both leave it all in there. I don't think either of them will take a backward step. I think it'll be blood and guts. I think it could be. I know it's the first show of the year, but I'd be surprised if we see a better fight throughout the year. I think it's going to be a humdinger. Could be pretty brutal. I think it'll be a brutal fight because both of them hit hard, but aren't one-punch knockout merchants. And they both got good chins. And they both got good defence. Well, Liam Smith's got a good defence. Eubank's got a great chin. So I think I see it being a long-distance fight. Maybe not the whole distance, but I think it's going to go sort of into those championship distance rounds. But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be blood and guts.
And one fight that we think will be a shootout is Anthony Yarde against Artur Beterbiev. What do you think of how that fight will play out?
Yeah, well, look, I think Yarde is going to be much better prepared for this fight than he was for Kovalev because of the fight he had with Kovalev. His inexperience at that level and the rounds, etc., probably was what let him down in that fight. Because he had Kovalev gone, didn't he, at one point? So that experience will stand to him. But I think Beterbiev isn't as shot-worn as what Kovalev was. So, you're trying to balance that out when you're making your predictions in your mind of how you think the fight's going to go. Two big punches. So, that could be an early night.
Who would you lean to if you had to say?
Look, I think you've got to go with Beterbiev because he's just more proven and etc. But I wouldn't count Yarde out.
Moving towards the heavyweight division, we've seen Anthony Joshua's in America. Looks like he's training with Ronnie Shields. I don't know if he's going to still be with Robert Garcia, but what Robert Garcia said was that he needs to be in America training, not training in the UK where there's distractions and things like that. Do you agree with that point?
Look, wherever he trains, I think he just needs to kind of get settled. I had different trainers myself, and it takes a while to build up the relationship with the trainer and get on the same page, and what they're trying to, because every trainer's got their stamp, and they wants to implement that, or get you to implement that into your style, fighting style, and it's like I say, it takes a while, and if you're 4, 5, 6 weeks out from a fight, you ain't really got time to be trying new things out. You want to be practicing things that you're going to use in the fight, so your drills and your pads, the drills and the sparring, etc. It's like, this is the real thing now. We're preparing for the fight, learning or changing or going through new things with your style. That needs to be done further out, really. So, or at a lesser fight, take a lesser fight at least. I've seen an interview Buddy McGirt said, and I agree with him. Don't go for a new trainer and go straight into a big fight. Because and then the fight don't go well. You're going to say, well, the training didn't work out, but you don't really know because you've only had that one fight, and you didn't really have time to work on too many new things because ultimately you're preparing for a fight. Where if you've got time where you're not preparing for a fight, that's the time to spend time with the trainer working on the new things. So I don't know. It's he had a good run, didn't he, with Rob McCracken? I don't know if that door would still be open. Maybe it would, but he knew him, didn't he? He knew him inside out, upside down. He knew what he was good at. He knew what he wasn't good at. He knew how he was mentally and emotionally. So I don't know. Look. That said, I didn't think they did bad with Robert Garcia. I thought that there was definitely some changes and some improvements because they had spent time together. It wasn't just 6 or 8 weeks. They'd done quite a bit before they went into training for that fight. So. I probably would have liked to see him go back with Robert Garcia and build on what you'd already learned with him in that fight.
Moving on, it looks like Fury's going to fight Usyk, hopefully in the first part of early 2023. If they fight, how do you break the fight down?
Look, I think Usyk's a box of tricks, isn't he? And he's going to be tricky and awkward for anyone. That said, I think Fury is so big and he's got all the physical advantages, reach, and not just size. Fury's quick as well, and he's clever. So I think that the problems and the awkward and the movement that Usyk has, I think will cause Fury less problems. He's quite mobile and can punch on the move, where Anthony Joshua, who was kind of wanting to get set to let his combinations go, that constant feinting and that constant offsetting him, it was hard for him to kind of deal with. I don't see Usyk posing Fury those same problems.
Final question, Eddie Hearn said that Anthony Joshua's resume is overall better than Tyson Fury's, in the sense that Fury's only fought, I say only, but he's fought Wilder 3 times, so the same opponent, White, Chisora, whereas AJ's fought Klitschko. Obviously Fury has as well, Takam, Povetkin, etc, etc. What do you see Eddie's point, or do you feel Tyson's resume is better? How do you look at that?
I know where Eddie's coming from, but I don't really agree with it, because I think the 3 fights he had with Wilder writes that off. Do you know what I mean? I think it cancels those out. Those were harder fights. Look at Wilder's resume, who he'd beaten and knocked out, etc. So I disagree. I know what he's saying, but I think the 3 fights he has with Wilder, and he's beaten Dylan White better than Joshua did. So it's I think that I know what he's saying, but I disagree. I think the fights that Fury the fights that Fury had with Wilder sort of cancels that out.
Let me just ask you one more as we're approaching the end of the year. What's your sort of fight of the year, knockout of the year? Who've you been impressed with? Just give me a few sort of different answers to that.
Look, I think Conlan Wood was hard to beat. It was a cracker of a fight. Brilliant performance from Mick. Was a minute away from winning, and then credit to Lee Woods. he did come on second half, stayed in the fight, and found the punch to finish it when he had to. So, I mean, it was probably knockout of the year and fight of the year. It was definitely fight of the year, I think, for me, and definitely one of the knockouts of the year. Joe Cordina, gotta say, what talk about a one-punch knockout? I think I would probably pick that as my knockout of the year.
Maybe, excuse me, maybe fighter of the year. A lot of people say Dimitri Bivol for the Canelo and the Zerdo win. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. It's if you look at the significance and the magnitude of the wins he had with Canelo, firstly, and Ramirez, by the way. That was, he dominated him, and Ramirez is a good fighter. So yeah, I think it's hard to pick against Bivol.
Great stuff, Matt. Appreciate your time and enjoy tomorrow's show.
Cheers, nice one.